fellas, I'm heading down this old dead-end country road here. Go down to a trailer where they're having some trouble. It's kind of strange. They said the heat's not coming on fast enough. Said it works, but it's just not coming on fast enough. Last time they looked at the thermostat, they wanted 73. It was a 73. This one might be a little bit of a difficult one because it might be a mystery. I'll be doing a little bit of play-by-play on this video because I couldn't talk. Because a lady and her brother were sitting in the next room watching TV, which we can also enjoy while this video is going. Because the Channel 6 News will be on in a second. Talking about Obama. I'm just taking away the control panel. I'm removing the high voltage. Just a little shield that goes over the high voltage of the main wire that comes in. You'll see it. It's underneath that plastic piece right there with the white sticker on it, which is secured excellently. Watch this. Oh yeah, that's perfect. And you see L1 and L2 right there. It feeds those two breakers. I'm using the Southwire voltage tester to make sure we got 240 volts. Make sure we're squared away there. Right now I'm probably thinking about what I'm going to eat for lunch. It was nothing. I had to skip lunch. But I had some wicked good chicken for dinner, so it's alright. This is what you gotta do in a long video, guys, where you can't talk. You gotta fill it up with useless crap. There's the news. I'm looking things over, basically just checking to see if I can see anything just sort of jumping out at me. I think I should go turn it on.
Start it up.
The complaint was that the unit would turn on, in heat, and it would take a long time for the heat to come on. So I've been looking at the sequencers because they're usually the prime suspects there. It could be the blower relay too, but I just replaced the blower relay a few months ago. I'm going to fire it up and see what happens. And that is the field piece 660. I'm checking voltage again because I'm not getting anything to come on. It usually should be like just a few seconds in the blower, and the heating element should come on. But alas, there is nothing. I'm giving it a second to see if they'll finally click in. Sometimes they get old and they get kind of cruddy because it's basically just like a mechanical thing. And you could hear one click there, and that's actually the third element out of the three. It's not the right element. It should be the last element on, and it actually came on. It's the only one that came on. You can see I'm trying to figure it out because I heard it.
We got our 24 volts.
Southwire voltage tester can test down to, I think it's 6 volts. So you can see 24 on there. You can see there's 240 across the sequencer, meaning it's open right now. I just turned it back on. We have a call for heat from the thermostat. There's no delay because it's an electric furnace. So it should come on pretty much about 10 seconds. That's what I'm confirming. I'm just making sure both the sequencers are open. You see there's a click. I'm going over to the short stack in just a minute, and I'm going to see that it is closed and the element is actually on, and I can start to see it. I can actually see it through the cracks there. Where you see those red wires going into the little double limit switch, you can actually see the elements glowing through the holes there. You hear it click off again. That low voltage power is a bimetal disc that flexes, has little, I think, ceramic push rods that close those relays. And after you shut the power off, they'll start to cool back down when the voltage is off of them, and it'll actually click off. You'll hear them clicking once the power's off after a few seconds. And you see there's the element back on, and it is not the correct element. See, the sequencer I'm testing now is the one that should be on first. I'm poking it there. See if it'll click, but it's not.
Miss Hart? It's your lucky day. It happened right here while I was watching it. Okay. There's two little relays down here at the bottom, and they turn on your heating elements.
Right.
What is when they get power from your thermostat, it comes in on these wires right here, travels down here and tells these relays that they need to close and put power on the elements. What's happening is there's two of them, because you have what's called 15 kilowatts of heat in this furnace, and there's two different relays. One controls half of it, and one controls the other half. One of them's not coming on every time. That's why your blower's not coming on. The one is, so it actually comes on and it runs without the blower, and it overheats and shuts down. That's why it's not, you don't hear anything or have any heating when that happens. Evidently, sometimes this one is clicking on and it's causing, because that one turns the blower on. It's supposed to come on first, turn the blower on the first set of elements, then the second one comes on. But the only one that's coming on right now is the second one. So, but I have one of those in the truck, so we can switch that out now.
You can switch that out?
Yes, ma'am. I actually have one of these. A customer actually ordered one of these, and they decided to wait on it, so it's your lucky day because I have one in the truck.
Well, thank goodness.
So, and it's not an expensive repair.
I knew
either.
there was something crazy going on, you know.
Well, I'm glad it did it right now. A lot of times these things stick and you'll tap on them, just like the relays from before.
Yeah.
You tap on it and it'll start working, then it won't work again, or it'll run constantly, or will never come on. And these things are the same way. They'll get stuck where they're on constantly, where the blower will just heat until you have to shut it off at the breaker. Or it will never come on and you have your issue you have now where it's just not coming on at all. So, but I have one of those. I'll run out there and grab it.
Thank goodness.
It worked out pretty good because that one lady's loss is your gain.
Okay. I said, I don't want this.
The customer listened to my whole explanation, but I just know in her head, she's like, okay, yeah, whatever. Do you have one on the truck? Yes or no? Because when I get to that part, she starts speaking up, you know. Because right about now, when the repair is about a minute later, she's already forgotten everything I've said except for I have one on the truck. I'm taking that, you see that plate there has two sequencers mounted to it, comes as one assembly. Just take that out because they're timed with specific timing. You can't just put whatever you want back. You have to use that particular sequencer. Unless you want to downgrade it to 10 kW and use just a double stack or a contactor. I use this method most of the times when I do this. I'll mount the new sequencer as long as there's enough room. Then I'll just take one wire off each one and put it back on the other one. Not that you can't figure out where it goes, but you might as well just keep it simple and just pull the other one off and pull it wire for wire without having to put your brain through all the agony and trials of laying it out afterwards. Right now I'm taking off those low voltage terminals that go on the top because they're on the bottom, and I want to make sure I'm putting in the hardest to reach one first so I can sort of work my way out, because even though it looks real spacious here on camera, when you got my big man hands in there, it really fills up the cavity and makes it difficult to work. And this is one of the nicer ones. There's some, as far as electric furnaces go, that have the breakers mounted in front of the controls, and they are just a royal pain in the butt because you're literally, it's almost impossible to test or work on anything without moving them out of the way. One of the reasons I have the south wire is because it's easier to maneuver on those units, because trying to get a multimeter lead in there is near impossible because you're just about guaranteed to shock the crap out of yourself because you have those 240 breakers just right in the front. Removing all my wires. I'll just basically, sequencer has voltage entering one side, exiting the other side. I'm taking everything off one side, low voltage, then high voltage, and transferring over to the other side. You can see every single wire is black. so there's not really a way to detail it on the screen here. You have the one yellow wire, that's the wire coming off of the sequencer going to the blower, because on an electric furnace, your sequencer operates the blower, meaning it'll send a voltage signal to the blower relay. You'll have a one pole normally open, one pole normally closed blower relay, and on the normally closed side, you'll have voltage passing through in heat mode. When you don't have that G call, when you just have a W call, the sequencer clicks on, sends that voltage up to the relay, and passes straight through, and usually operates the blower at a lower medium speed. The cooling's typically high speed. I find because of the airflow issues on the trailers, a lot of the times I'll use high speed and I'll just jump them across. Or you can use a different blower relay since you only want one speed. Like a single pole double throw. As you see, the sequencer fell apart and one of the ceramic push rods fell out of it and the disc fell out of it. So it wasn't in real good shape. They get real brittle over time because imagine there's 20 amps pulling through these little relays all the time. They got to be pretty beefy because most relays can't handle that amount of amperage. And you see me with the pliers there. I'm crimping all those stay-cons. After you try to wiggle them off of the first sequencer, they're always loose. Even if you put them back on, they seem sorta okay. I always crimp them a little bit just to be safe, because the terminals in these things, they tend to burn off all the time. If you get a loose terminal, see there's a sequencer right there. The disc is missing off the bottom of it. Most of the guts fell out of it. But if you have, I see burnt terminals all the time because they get loose and then it gets warm because the connection's not good, then they burn the wires off. So you want to check. Electric furnace, more than anything else, you need to check the tightness of the wiring when you're doing preventive maintenance on them. If anyone ever does preventive maintenance on one, that's what you would do. Most of my electric furnace customers are in trailers, and I don't know that very many of them do preventive maintenance, maybe just one or two. But it's good. I'll be doing some next week. I'll bring you guys along for that too. You see there's a ceramic push rod about to fall out of that bad boy. There it is. Yeah, we're almost done here. Just a few more wires left. Then what I can do is I can test it out, and it should be a 10-second wait time instead of never comes on, obviously. That's one thing people like, their heat to actually come on. Especially since this weekend it's supposed to be in the teens here overnight, which is pretty cold for down here. Typically our lows are 30 or something like that. We don't get below freezing very often. But it's supposed to be pretty cold for 2 or 3 days straight. In fact, we might have snow, which will basically cripple our entire area. No one will go outside. All the bread will disappear from the stores. All the water. That afterwards we'll have to dispose of all the moldy bread from where people bought 12 loaves and realized they didn't need but 3 slices. Double checking all the wires, as you can see, just kind of moving around there, make sure nothing's loose, because what's going to happen when one gets loose, it'll burn off the next day. It never fails, so make sure you check that. There's a thumbs up of success. We're going to turn it back on here, and we should see it take off 20 amps, and the blower should come on. Here it is.